Hey everybody, we made it to Friday. Rachel Vogel here at the WMBF First Alert Desk, getting on a little bit later tonight. It's Friday, as you do, but I do have a lot of stories to get to, so it took me a little while to kind of get everything together for you, but here we are, and let's go ahead and get right into it here, starting with this one. So the South Carolina Forestry Commission has now put a statewide burn ban in place. It actually went into effect tonight at 6, so we're 4 hours in now. This means any and all outdoor burning, we're talking yard, debris burning, prescribed burning, campfires, bonfires, any kind of recreational fire. Don't burn things. It's all strictly prohibited right now. A number of local governments also reinstated burn bans yesterday. So unincorporated areas of Horry, Georgetown, and Darlington counties, along with the city of Conway and the city of Georgetown, all already prohibiting outdoor burning until further notice. Again, those went into place yesterday, but we're told this new statewide burn ban from the Forestry Commission, that will remain in place until further notice. So again, very important to take heed here. Because the conditions are just right for any possible new wildfires to spark up, and it doesn't take much, especially with the wind conditions. It's so dry out there. Certainly something to make sure everyone is aware of in case folks around you or family members might not be aware or might not be tuning in. Make sure that they are looped in so they are not getting into any trouble for violating this ban. All right, so this is another story that is really still developing at this point. We're trying to still get some information. So as you're taking a look here, this was the scene earlier today at the Walmart on Seaboard Street. So right up the road from our WMBF studios here. So things are now back to normal inside this superstore after an apparent scare this afternoon. So we're told customers and employees were allowed to go back inside the Walmart again on Seaboard Street. They were allowed back in around 5 o'clock after shoppers claim an announcement over the store's loudspeakers told them to evacuate around 3:30. So some of the images you're seeing here, that was when all the folks were forced out of the store, and you can see everyone kind of there in the parking lot, milling around, trying to figure out what's going on. A pretty heavy police presence. That is kind of what tipped us off to the situation here to try and get some more answers. Unfortunately, though, at this point, we still don't have a lot of additional details about the situation, except for right around 4:30, Myrtle Beach Police did confirm to us there was an active investigation at this location. But again, they did not provide any additional information about the nature of that investigation, why officers were called to that store in the first place. We are still going to try and keep pushing for those answers, and we'll let you know when and if we get any more information. But again, folks, we're allowed to go back in around 5 o'clock, so things were able to pretty much get back to normal after that. So, all right, check this out. This is not what you want to see. So a Grand Strand rental company wants you really to be on the lookout for 2 people accused of trashing one of its units in Myrtle Beach. So Coastal Premier Real Estate Services says it is still trying to recover from what's cost them around $10,000 in repairs. Just look at some of what was left for them to deal with here. So police reportedly found slashed walls. As you can see here, just a big hole in the wall, graffiti, holes in the sheetrock, paint, graffiti on walls, and a refrigerator at the unit. Just to say a bit. You can see in these pictures here, it goes far beyond that. Officers spoke with one of the renters there who told them a woman was the one who caused this damage, but authorities couldn't find that woman, so no charges were filed. Myrtle Beach police say they are investigating the situation, but if you have any information about the individuals who caused this damage or anything about the situation, you are asked to reach out to the department. All right, how about some good news here? We like that, right? So after a months-long nationwide search, the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce has a new leader. Matthew Pivarnik was announced today as the Chamber's new president and CEO. He most recently has served as CEO for the Greater Topeka Partnership in Kansas, and in total, he has 30 years of leadership experience, and we are told he will officially start in his new position here in Myrtle Beach this May, so not long now, and we are excited to welcome him here to lead the Myrtle Beach Chamber. Looking forward to that. Speaking of leadership as well, Myrtle Beach's top official has officially announced she is going to be seeking re-election. Last night, Mayor Brenda Bethune launched her re-election bid. This was at an event at the Hangout there at Broadway at the Beach, and she promised to continue, quote, strengthening the city's relationship with the county and the state. She also spoke about some of what she says have really been her strengths in her time in office. So she's been serving as mayor of Myrtle Beach since taking office in January of 2018, and if she wins re-election, this would be her third term as mayor. We do know she'll face at least one challenger and longtime former city spokesperson Mark Crua, who just announced his candidacy last week, but there is still some more time for any other potential candidates to enter the race since the election will not take place until this fall. Voters will get to go out and cast their ballots for who they want to serve as the new Myrtle Beach mayor during that election coming up on November 4th. So you can read more about what she's saying, some of the promises she has in store if she is elected. Once again, you can read all about that over on WMBFnews.com. All right, moving out now to Darlington County. This is a bit of a wild story here as the tables turning a bit for a corrections officer in Darlington County because he is now out of a job and behind bars after marijuana was reportedly found in his vehicle at work. So authorities say a canine was used to search the employee parking lot, locker rooms, and administrative offices at the W. Glenn Campbell Detention Center this week. They say this is a pretty regular thing just for routine searches there. So the sheriff's office says that marijuana was found inside Christian Jackson's vehicle during a canine search of that parking lot, that employee parking lot. He was then placed into handcuffs and terminated from his position. We're told Jackson is now being held at the detention center awaiting a bond hearing. All right, so with this next one, this is a bit of a follow-up here on a story we first told you about more than a year ago. That's when we told you about a new tool that really is putting control back into the hands of survivors of sexual assault. So SLED says its rape kit tracking system is very efficient. It allows survivors to track their evidence from the time it is collected just so they can kind of see as it's going through the system. However, one mother we spoke to named Megan Searles said that the wait really, and just having to look and monitor that over and over and kind of wait for movement, she says it's really taking a toll on her mental health. So she says she filed a police report in 2023 claiming she caught the father of her children sexually assaulting them, but the thing is, the proof necessary to unlock that path to justice, it's in SLED's hands, really, with those kits, because they are still being processed. So really, it's just kind of a waiting situation until they can go through, until that evidence is available to really move forward in that process. So just for kind of context here, it typically takes SLED about a year or two to process rape kits, and there are currently 1,700 sexual assault kits in the system. That's as of January of this year, and that's a stark contrast from the 77 kits the system first had in it when it was launched in December of 2023. Now, that is actually a good thing. I know having a number just kind of shoot up like that could seem like a bad thing because we are talking about, sexual assault here, but the reason why it's good is because, we now have the medical staff to be able to do these tests. We have the available kits to make sure that they can be done and put in the system here. These things can be reported and followed through on. So this is actually a positive. But the problem is that can, create a little bit of a backlog and really can take some time as they are all moving through the system. So the Horry County Police Department has the third most kits in that system with 72 behind Greenville County and the Columbia Police Department. SLED says it opened a new forensics lab 2 years ago to allow more space and staff to process those kits. The agency also got a grant, which it is using to outsource kits to a private testing facility. So the hope there is that that can really help with any of that backlog and to just kind of expedite that process, which again, when you're talking about over 1,700 kits, that will take some time. And there are some folks that, really their pursuit of justice relies on getting those kits tested and getting them through so they can go ahead and continue in the process there. So we will keep monitoring that for you. But again, it sounds like they're really trying to take the steps to make sure that these kits can be tested as quickly as possible and, by those who are able to do so and who are they have the credentials to do so and handle those properly. So we'll keep you posted on that. Before we get to what we were following for you new at 11, let's talk about that forecast because It's not too shabby. Today was our first day of spring, and hopefully if you don't have any plans for this weekend to get out and about, you might as well start making it, because look at that. We're talking about highs of upper 60s into low 70s for both Saturday and Sunday. We do dip down at night, so, spring, it's what you do. You wear layers in the morning and in the evening, but overall it's going to be really great. Again, though, red flag warnings, those burn bans are in effect. We will have some wind too, so again, just a reminder, no burning outside, just to be very aware of anything that could spark up a possible wildfire, because it really is a serious situation right now. But again, other than that, feel free to get out and about and just enjoy it. Maybe get a lunch or a brunch outside on a patio and really take it in, because once we get to Monday, we will see just the chance for some scattered rain to come back into the picture. But again, overall, after that, really will be feeling quite a bit like spring. All right, let's go ahead and talk about what we are watching and following for you new at 11. We have a couple stories here out of Darlington County, starting with this one. So a PD man, he will spend a decade and a half in jail for his role in a years-old armed robbery. So a judge sentenced 50-year-old Derek George to 15 years after he pleaded guilty on Monday to holding up a Hartsville convenience store back in September of 2022 with a gun tucked into his waistband. So if his name sounds familiar, though, again, Derek George, that's because we actually reported on him landing back in jail earlier this year when Florence County deputies claim he carried out at least 2 other armed robberies in February of this year. So again, he was sentenced to 15 years for that armed robbery. As I said, we have another story as well that we're following new at 11, also out of Darlington County, where another man is also set to serve time, this time for a burglary and arson case, also at Hartsville. So the Fourth Circuit Solicitor's Office confirms to us 28-year-old James Dees Jr. was sentenced Monday to 5 years in prison. This comes after he pleaded guilty to breaking into the SP Coker cotton gin in August of 2019 and setting fire to several bales of cotton. We do know he'll have to spend 3 years on probation following his release, but we are still working to learn more specifics about his parole situation here. So again, those are a couple of our news stories that we are watching for you at 11, but there is plenty more where that came from. But for now, that'll do it for this update from the WMBF First Alert Desk. I hope you're able to join us back on air in just under 45 minutes for WMBF News at 11. Have a good night. Hope to see you soon.